Being called is a feeling that you're meant for more. It can manifest in less positive ways, like I'm not as far ahead as I'd like to be, or maybe you think you've outgrown your current job, relationship, or hobby. You know there's more to life, and you just can't shake the feeling that maybe you should be figuring out what that is. If you're wondering what your next step in life is, and you're feeling like you might be called to do something bigger, this episode is for you. Welcome to Jotindi, Journey to the Inner Divine, a sacred space for healing energy, emotional release, and soulful transformation. If you're ready to live with joy, ease, and purpose, you're in the right place. Welcome back to Jotindi, you guys. I am so grateful that you're here. Today, I want to talk about why you feel called to something bigger in life, but you still don't know what that is and what you can do about that. I've made a freebie to go with this episode. It is called the Morning Ritual Freebie, and I will tell you more about that at the end. But first, I just wanted to talk about what being called is, what that means. Being called is like a feeling that there is more to life. There's more to life than what you currently have, there's more than what you've experienced so far. And this can manifest in positive ways and not so positive ways. Positive ways might be thinking like, maybe I've outgrown my job and I need to push ahead in my career, or maybe you have reached a point in your hobby where you have really achieved something amazing, but you're feeling like maybe you could take it to the next level or branch out and incorporate something else with it. So, I want to share with you about a time when I felt called to something bigger and what that looks like. It has happened a lot for me, but we'll just narrow it down to this one little story. So, when my partner and I first started talking about moving out of Utah, I felt a call. Like I felt a yearning. We were looking at jobs and places that we could move all over the country, but there was one specific place that I kept coming back to. Every time I would look at pictures or learn about it, I just felt like that's where we belonged. That's where we should go. And even though I had been fantasizing about moving to Montana, which I've been fantasizing about for many, many years, I still would like to live in Montana at some point. There was something about this other place that I just couldn't shake. The more I learned about the region and the people and the history, the more I felt drawn to it. I researched local activities and fun cryptids because there's quite a few in this area. I learned about the wise women that they call granny witches, who use a mixture of native plants and biblical scripture to help heal people who couldn't make it to medical facilities. And the day that we got the call, I was so stunned and overjoyed. We got the job in the exact place that I was feeling called to. It's in Appalachia, and I just remember feeling so connected to that culture for some reason, and I didn't know why. We packed up all of our stuff and we moved across the country. And when I got here, I did some digging into my family tree because I had heard something about my grandmother having been born here somewhere in this region, and I decided to look into it more. And it turns out that my family has been living in this area, this exact area, about 20 minutes from where I bought my house, since the 1750s, since before this biggest city in this area was even a city. Like my family tree helped settle this region. And I realized that's why I felt so called to this place. Living here hasn't necessarily been easy. And I do feel like, in a lot of ways, it might be easier to just start over somewhere else. But I still feel like I have unfinished business here. Like I was brought back to this region for a purpose. And even though I'm not sure what that is yet, it makes hard times more bearable. It makes me continuously look for the good and figure out why it is that I'm feeling so called to be here. Maybe there's somebody here that I'm meant to help. Maybe there's something more that I'm here to do. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I can feel it. I can feel it deep in my soul that I'm meant to be here and that I have purpose and a mission being in this area. Now, you might be wondering like what that knowing feeling feels like. Sometimes it feels like a gentle pull towards something, and other times it doesn't feel so great. Sometimes the universe is trying to tell you that you are meant for more by sending you feelings of restlessness, that something is off, or maybe you've become hyper aware of like habits or things that you'd like to change about yourself. Maybe your comfort zone isn't so comfortable anymore. Or maybe you're becoming more frustrated at the injustices that you see around you. All these types of feelings are our intuition, and our intuition is pointing us in the right direction, in the direction that we are meant to go. Pain points away from the direction, and peace, love, and joy point us towards what we are meant for. So, paying attention to this and paying attention to the combination can really help you zero in on the path that you're meant to walk much faster. So, pay attention to all of your feelings because they're all telling you something. There's a lesson to be learned in all of them. Another reason you might feel called to something bigger is that we as humans are wired for growth. On a soul level, we're not meant to stay stagnant. Just like nature constantly changes, the seasons shift, plants grow, rivers flow, we are meant to evolve. And that inner tug is often our higher self or our inner wisdom nudging us towards expansion and healing and becoming the fullest expression of ourselves. And one way that we can start on this path is through emotional healing. Healing your past wounds will help clear out the feelings that might seem like guidance, but are actually keeping you stuck. For example, if you have unresolved trauma, having emotional triggers might seem like one of those things that's pointing you away from something. But in actuality, those emotional triggers that are tied to trauma are just stuck energy that's playing on repeat. So, clearing out your unregulated emotional responses can help clear the path for you to identify what your true feelings actually are. So, as an example of this, I had had a traumatic situation that left me with PTSD, and one of my triggers led me to feel like I didn't protect my dog. I became hypersensitive to anything that my dog went through, and whether it was an interaction with other animals or just people teasing him, even if it was all in good fun, it was really easy for me to believe that these triggering feelings were leading me to behave in a way that I thought was very necessary. However, my dog was not actually harmed at any time. I didn't not protect him because he didn't need protecting from anything. Nothing happened to him. He was just sitting there. And so I underwent some EMDR therapy and I was able to clear those emotional triggers from the actual trauma. And a lot of those feelings melted away. I didn't need to protect my dog. My dog wasn't hurt during my trauma. It was my trauma, not his. He's fine. He's never been injured, which I am so unbelievably grateful for. And people teasing him like doesn't affect him in the slightest. He doesn't even know what they're saying. He's always been very well taken care of, to say the least. He's actually quite spoiled, which I'm proud of. I'm okay with that. Love spoiling my little dog. He deserves it. And now I'm able to take a more objective approach and allow him to have a little bit more freedom to explore the world on his own terms because my anxiety has been eased around him and his experience in this life. So I would like to share a couple techniques for emotional healing. The first one, like I just mentioned, is EMDR therapy. Obviously, you will need a therapist for that one. It's not something that you really do by yourself. It's something that you do under supervision of a professional, but it's really, really amazing and very, very healing. Things that you can do for emotional healing on your own could be like journaling. If you need to, you can even hop on to ChatGPT and ask for some journaling prompts that can help you work through your trauma. Or you can find journaling prompts from people like me or other healers and coaches that can help guide you towards productive journaling. Another technique you can use is meditation, of course. Meditation is wonderful for helping to clear out your emotions, to help you regulate yourself, to help focus your energy and guide your thoughts. A lot of people believe they can't meditate or they don't do it right. And nothing could be further from the truth. Everybody can meditate, and there's not really a wrong way to do it. The whole point of meditation is to keep refocusing your thoughts. In the beginning is much more difficult than somebody who's been practicing for a number of years, but everybody starts the same way. You start focusing on a thing, thoughts are going to pop into your head because that's what your mind does. It thinks. You notice the thought, you say, thank you, I'll get back to you later. And then you refocus on what you were focused on in the beginning, whether that's a mantra or your breathing or something that you're looking at. You just keep bringing your attention back to the same thing without judgment, treating yourself gently. That's the basics of meditation. And obviously, we're going to talk about that in depth in other episodes. Another thing that you can do to help start your emotional healing journey is therapy. Therapists are really great for that. There's a bunch of different techniques. There's cognitive behavior therapy where they talk to you about the way your brain processes things. There's neuro-linguistic programming where they help you alter the way that you talk and help you adjust your language. There is dialectical behavioral therapy. There's internal family systems therapy. There's all kinds of different types of therapy. And if you're in a place where you can't afford a therapist, there are a lot of really great low cost options out there right now. And there's a ton of workbooks that you can order off of Amazon and get started on your healing process on your own. It kind of circles back to the journaling thing. A lot of those workbooks are really great because they're just basically full of journaling prompts. They're going to help you work through your thoughts and apply techniques that can help you calm yourself and move through your day with ease. And the first thing you want to do when you're on your healing path is to work on your self-awareness. So that's going to involve the journaling. Journaling is going to be super helpful. You're going to dig deep into what, how, why. You identify what you think you need in order to change for you to heal. And this process can be complicated because our emotions can sometimes cloud our judgment and get in the way of us discovering what it is that we actually need to heal. And that's where a great coach or therapist or healer comes in because they can help you sort through the things that are actually needed to heal and what is just emotional baggage that's keeping you tied down. You can meditate or do a hypnosis to get in touch with your higher self or the universe, your personal guides or God or whatever language resonates best with you. You can listen for guidance, listen for answers. And don't forget, we're all made of energy, so we're all connected. You can tap into that infinite wisdom whenever you choose. When you decide to undertake this process of self-discovery, you will be surprised at how things can open up for you. When you work on healing your past traumas, new paths open, new insights are gained. You can heal from things. You would be so surprised the amazing, incredible transformation that can happen in your life. You'll discover that you start looking at things differently because your perspective is going to shift. Like Wayne Dyer said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And there's some real validity to that concept because our personal realities are all shaped by our perspective and the lens that we view things through. Our experiences, our beliefs, they all shape our reality. And you can have two people who grew up in the same house at the same time with the same parents and have completely different experiences of what that household was like to grow up in. And it all is based on our perspective. So circling back to when you're feeling called to something bigger, that can feel very scary and uncertain. But sometimes it only takes a small shift to create an entirely new life. I explained this to one of my dear friends the first time we met. She was struggling with the way her life was going. And the way I explained it to her is that you're on a trajectory. What you are doing right now has got you on one path. And if you change your trajectory 1 degree and you follow that path, you're going to end up in a different place, a completely different place. If you were on an airplane and the course was off by 1 degree, you could potentially end up in an entirely different country. All it takes is a series of small shifts. You would be surprised at how quickly and how drastically you can change your life. And if you're wary of making big changes, that's okay. When I met my friend, she had really big dreams for her life, but she was really being held back by her fear and self-doubt. So instead of pushing her to make a big change that she wasn't ready for, I explained this concept about changing your trajectory by 1 degree. It's not always necessary to do an entire overhaul in order to transform your life. It's often just a few small shifts that you need to make that add up to something big. And that's exactly what happened for Lindsay. She went from a low paying job with turmoil at home, unsatisfied with where she was at or where she was going. Now her life looks completely different. She has a fantastic high paying career. She just purchased her first home. She's been able to heal a tremendous amount from her past trauma, and she just exudes love and light. And being around her, it's hard not to smile. She really has become one of my dearest friends, and she has helped me at least as much as I have helped her. She just emanates this positive energy that is just magnetic that you love to be around. She's just one of those people where you just feel good when you're in their presence. So I want to encourage you to listen to your intuition and trust your inner guidance. But don't be afraid of digging in and doing this deep work to try and help differentiate between the emotional clutter that's been holding you back and these true feelings that are going to lead you towards exactly what you're meant to in this life. So, let me tell you a little bit about this freebie that I've created for you. It's going to tie in with this beautifully. It's called Create a Morning Ritual. This is a guide that I've created for you so that you can build out the perfect morning ritual. It can include things like meditating or setting your intentions, visualizing how you want your day to go, things like that. Basically, it's a super simple checklist where there are 4 different categories to choose from: body, mind, spirit, and future vision. You'll pick one thing from each category, and there's a space where you can insert your own. Doesn't have to take very long. It can be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever feels right for you. And it's really going to help you get your day off to a really good start. I would also like to extend an invitation for you to join with me and some other like-minded individuals and join my Facebook group. It's called Jotindi. It's super easy to find. It's a place where we can all get together. We can discuss the podcast episode topics, get guidance, learn about emotional healing, and really dive deeper into these topics so that we can all learn and grow and support each other. I would really be honored if you would join the Facebook group. There, you will also learn about my upcoming program, the Soul Sanctuary Healing Circle. That's not out yet, but there is a wait list, and you can learn more about that in the group if you're interested in that. And as always, I would love to hear about your personal experience. So I would like to invite you to share your experience with me or your questions for future episode topics. You can email me at mariah@mariahaurora.com, or you can go to my website, mariahaurora.com, and find a bunch of freebies there. You can find the link to download all these. And the freebie I mentioned in this episode, there is a link in the show notes, so don't miss that. So thank you so much for being here with me. And I just want to highlight the importance of patience and self-compassion while you're on this journey. We are all going through a lot, and it is so important that we show ourselves the same kind of love and care that we would show a dear friend. If you've enjoyed this episode, please rate, review, share it with somebody who you think it could help. That truly would be the highest honor you could bestow upon me, would be to share this with somebody else. So thank you again for being here. And don't forget, there is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path.